Hello. Welcome to the Google Hangout for getting the job that you want. So I'm just going to get settled here while people come in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Okay, so this is getting the job you want. Now, while we're getting started here, I want you to just take a moment and ask yourself, what is that I really want? Because I think sometimes we look to other people, we look to what we've done in the past, we look to what the job description says, and don't really take the time and the energy to say, what is it I really want? And one way to think about that is to ask, what do I want to learn? Because oftentimes we don't know how to do it before the job starts. We learn on the job. So what do I want to learn? Second is, how do I want to serve? Because that's what a job is, right? We're serving customers, or we're serving employees, or we're serving coworkers. So how do I want to serve? And the last is, who do I want to work with? What types of colleagues? What types of clients? That helps us really define what it is that we want. And through this, I want you to remember that your attention is your greatest currency. both within this presentation as well as in life, the biggest factor, the biggest difference I see of people who are really, really successful and those who aren't is a level of focus that allows them not to be knocked off their game by other people's agendas, by Facebook, by Twitter, by anything. They're really focused. Attention and time, these are things that we can't really get back. You can make more money, you can't make more time and attention. So I want you to think about this as well for the purpose of this presentation. And you're paying for this. You're paying for this. Your attention is a form of payment. And I want you to get the most out of that. In order to do that, you can't be on your phone. You can't be texting. You can't be doing the laundry at the same time. To really hear something that's going to make a difference and cut through, and I don't know what that is. It may be one really powerful tip that you get out of this that cuts through and gets you that job you want, but you don't know when that's going to happen. So it's going to take your full focus and energy to do this. So remember, your attention is your greatest currency. So I ask of you, clear the distractions, cut out Facebook, turn your phone on airplane mode, just be here, and this could be something that could change your life. So first, my story, why I'm doing this, I've always had this entrepreneurial knack without really being a full-blown entrepreneur, in the sense that I've been able to create jobs at other companies and just say, hey, this is something that I really want to do, whether it be in the job description or outside of it. This session is going to be primarily for about jobs that are out there, but the skills can be used. And I'm actually going to give you a resource, an ebook at the end of this, that's going to help you even create the job, even if there's no job description there, because I've done that as well. That was part of what happened at Zappos, and I'll be going into a bit of that. So I've been able to do things like, when I saw a job description that I really wanted, but it didn't pay what I wanted. It was an assistant level, but I used these techniques, and by the end of a few interviews, they had raised it to a director level position because they wanted me in for it. So just because you see something that's out there, you think, oh, I really want to do this, but it doesn't pay enough, don't cut it out. There's still an opportunity to raise the stakes and raise the game. What I like to say with this process is, don't ever decide on a job that you might be on the fence about until you get it. You know, to say, oh, maybe I want that, maybe I don't, just go for it. And then once they give it to you, then you can decide. Then it's an actual problem. Until then, you don't have that problem. It's not a good problem yet. So what I've found is that if there's something out there you want, don't let yourself be limited by the pay or the description or the requirements that they have. These are things that you can get through and get over. So don't limit your options if you see something out there that's really great that you want. So that was an example of one that I turned into a good opportunity. Another is where I wanted to get a job opportunity just to interview, at least at Google, which was certainly, when they had all their academic rigor, was near impossible, because it was just such a great company and they weren't huge at that time. And I just kept putting it out there. I would go to parties to talk to people, and I'd say, yeah, I'm looking for a job at Google, until I found somebody who actually knew somebody who could get me in there for an interview. But it was if I hadn't just been talking about it, it wouldn't have happened. And then I'll be going into the Zappos story. Some of you know me from being at Zappos, about how I created that opportunity when there was none that existed there. It was just a desire that the company had. They wanted to create a new division that would teach people the culture and service at Zappos, and they didn't know how to do it. And so I went about a process to create that job. So these are just a few of the stories that I've had where I've created opportunities where there haven't been one, or I just saw something that I really wanted and got it. And I'm going to be sharing some of these techniques with you. And please, as we go through this, think of your questions. There's a chat box and a Q&A box there that you can ask them through, or save them to email to me later or during this, I'm robert@cultureblueprint.com. And I'll be sure to field those questions as well. Perhaps if not during this, then on another webinar by email. So let's get back to you, because this is what this is all about. It's not about me, it's about you. These are the mindsets, these techniques, the processes that you can use to get what you want. And just because I really want to start with something that's a wow, something that you could take now, and if you just said, hey, I've only got these 15 minutes, I'm going to take this tip and leave, it's a pretty huge one. And it came from my dad. My dad was at a law firm where he would go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes. And he found that occasionally one would have a photo on it. And he would end up hiring these people because he could just remember them. And this idea of having a photo on the resume, people see as sacrilege. They even cite HR reasons that they'll avoid you because you might be a certain race or color. Well, I've found everybody I've said this to, when they change that, they suddenly start getting interviews. Get a good, small, respectable thumbnail shot, put it in the corner. It'll make a huge difference, because in a sea of text, nobody is doing this. Put your resume on there. Think creatively. Think outside the box with these things. I'm going to be showing you some resume tools that you can use. If you're playing the same game everybody else is in a stack of hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of resumes that come in, then you're really playing the same game. And the way to beat this is to simply play a different game. You're going to play a different game with these techniques. So first, as I was saying before, get clear on what you want. Get clear on what you want by asking yourself these questions. What do I want to learn? Remember, if you see a job and you think, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the skills, guess what? Oftentimes, the people who have all the skills listed on a job description want to be doing something else because they've already done those things and they want to do something more. It's really more about, are you a fast learner? Are you able to learn really fast and well? So ask, what do you want to learn? That's going to really drive you in a lot of ways. How do I want to serve? That's what this is about, right? Jobs are about service to customers, to bosses, to employees, to coworkers. How do I want to serve, and who do I want to work with? Because really take the time to figure that out. Because if you can zero it in, anytime I've ever gotten a job I really wanted, it wasn't from blasting out resumes everywhere. It was from seriously targeting the job I want, the role I want, what do I want to do, and who do I want to do it with? Keep that in mind. It's not about blasting out resumes. It's about getting seriously targeted. Another way to think of it, this is one framework. I'm going to give you 3 here to figure out what you want. This is one, these 3 questions. The next is, where is the intersection of your passion, your skills, and what people are actually paying for? Because if there's just skills in the market for it, then it's a burnout job. If there's just passion and skills with no market, that's a hobby. And yet I make the skills one smaller here because that's the one actually you don't need as much, oddly. What I did with Zappos, I'd never done before, but had a lot of passion and some techniques that I'll show you here that are really about service and getting to know your client or the opportunity or the boss. Really great questions. It's not about selling you. This is not about you. This is about them and their goals. It's really about, do you understand us? Do you understand what we want? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to work hard for it? Those are way more valuable than an amazing resume. I hope you get that. That's really, really important. So go for that center. That's the second technique. The third technique is to ask yourself, who am I jealous of? If you don't know what you want to do, look around. Who are you jealous of? Who do you hear what they're doing and what they're up to? That can be a guide to what that specific opportunity is. And remember, I can't stress this enough. Get specific. If you're playing the old submit the resume game, you're going to the slot machines in Vegas hoping to win big. Get really specific on what you want to do, who you want to do it with, and for. Here's the objective that I used in my targeting when I found the opportunity to work with Zappos. Social media maven, community developer, and information product marketer seeks opportunity to develop revenue-generating continuity programs for brands improving lives, businesses, and the world. Now, I know that's a mouthful, maybe sounds like a bunch of buzzwords, but I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with community. I wanted to do marketing. I wanted to work in these continuity programs, meaning passive revenue-generating opportunities for a big brand that's doing cool things. This was more for me than it was for the employer. But I think it's really still important to change objectives based on the opportunity, but to get really, really specific. Don't be afraid. I think we get a little scared to say, oh, this is the specific thing I want to do. I want to work in passive revenue generating opportunities for brands that are doing cool stuff. And these are the skills I want to use. Experiment. Get specific. For those of you who are spiritual, the universe really connects with you when you're very specific about what you want. Then ask yourself, do I have what it takes? And not do I have what it takes from the perspective of skills, but really something larger, these meta skills of one, being a great communicator. I can't stress this one enough. A great communicator means you listen first and foremost. You ask great questions first and foremost, and you know when to shut up. That's being a great communicator. If you're ever in a meeting and they're talking a lot, that's great. You're listening well and you're asking great questions. Listen well, ask great questions, and know when to shut up. That's being a great communicator. Can you be a team player? This is something to honestly ask yourself. I know some great entrepreneurs who say, you know what? I don't take orders well. I don't work well with others. I want to work on my own. They become independent freelancers. That's all great. An employer doesn't want that. They want you to be able to be a team player, meaning you can work out conflicts. You can set your ego aside. You can put your desires aside for the greater desires of the team and the company. That you're willing to help other people, that you're willing to go outside of your work to help others, that you're willing to ask for help. These are elements of being a team player. Third is being a driver. Being a driver means you can take something from idea to finish without needing a lot of hand-holding. Employers really want that. They don't want to have to micromanage you. They want to see somebody who they're able to give some direction and you go off and you do it. You ask for feedback along the way. You ask for help. I'm not saying you don't ask for help, but a driver gets it done. They're resourceful. They find what they need. They ask great questions. They make it happen. And fourth is you're a problem solver. Problem solver means you don't say, oh, I didn't know how to do this, so I didn't do it. It means you figure it out or you ask other people. And it might be people outside the company. You call a friend. I remember when I was assigned a consulting task, they gave me this task to find out the financial information of social networking companies like Friendster and MySpace at a time when they were private. And he said, I need the financial data on their revenue models. I called up a friend in private equity. He said, there's no way to get this without somebody being inside the company. I'd already signed up for the gig, but I said, no, I have to make this happen. And he said, you can't. It's private information. I said, well, then I'm going to find somebody who works there, and couldn't find somebody who works there. Then I saw this networking event of net professionals. This is back in like the early 2000s. At an event far away, and I went to it and I kept asking. I said, this is my problem. This is what I got to figure out. One guy said he was he knew a consultant for Friendster. I said, I got to talk to that guy. I did. And the guy said, oh, you don't need to do anything illegal. All you need to do is run Google ads and target those sites because they're all running Google ads. If you put together all the metrics from the data Google ads gives you from running ads on there, you can do the work backwards with their traffic to figure out their revenue. And that's what I did, but it was because I didn't give up. I didn't turn to the person who hired me and said, oh, it's private data at the company. I can't figure that out. I kept on driving and asking until I figured it out because I was committed. So these are these 4 skills: great communicator, team player, driver, problem solver. Next, you're going to figure out whom you can help. Figure out who you can help. News sources. If you're in the startup world, TechCrunch, figure out where are things happening. Where can I find out who's growing, who's changing? A great other one is Indeed.com. You can put in what you want, where you want it, how far away, what salary range, and then on the right there, check that out. You can get email updates from all these different job search engines. It's really, really cool resource. But then what I want you to make sure that you do is that you track. You track all these opportunities. Okay, so it's easy to get lost in all these kind of things like that, but take a tool like Trello. Trello.com is a great one, but you can use anything, a spreadsheet. It doesn't matter. Just track these opportunities that you're working on. And again, we want to get really specific. It's not about getting hundreds. It's really, really targeting in. And I'm going to talk to you in a moment about how to find somebody at the company who can get you in there. Because just going the single route of applying on their site is not going to work. They don't know you from Adam. So it's got to be something different. So first, let's talk about breaking down a job description. Because first, we got to get our materials in order, our resume, our cover letter, so that when we get an introduction in there, that we're going to be all tight and they're going to see, holy crap, this is the right person for the job. So now I ask you to pay really close attention, because I'm going to show you how to break down a job description. Because what you're doing with this is you're not reading, oh, can I do this? Can I not? Is this me? Is it not? No, what you're looking for is, what do they really want? What do they really want? That's what you're looking at this for. So we're going to go through an actual job description that's out there now. It's a friend of mine applying for a job at KCRW, the music manager position. And we're going to take a look at that and look at how to read this. And even if you don't want this job, I'm sure it's probably one you don't want, but you'll learn how to read through a job description. So first, manager, music department. Without question, this is one of the best jobs in Los Angeles. Now, for anything that we're going to cover here, ask yourself, why are they telling me this? Why do they feel the need to convey this? With this, it's that they're probably saying, you know what, we really want to get a top talent, executive level kind of person at a low price. That's what that says to me. Now, mind you, you don't have to be that, but just realize that's where they're probably coming from. If they have to say that, this is one of the best jobs in LA. A lot of people know KCRW. A lot of people, if they're in music management, would say any job in music management would be pretty amazing. But here they're saying, you know, we want top talent. Maybe we're not want to pay executive level price. That's what that would say to me. Next is they say, execute the creative vision of the music director. Aha, this is important. What this means is they're not looking to me for a lot of my creative ideas. They're looking for an executor. They're looking for an ops person. So, okay, I'm not going to go in this guns a-blazing with a million ideas. I want to show how much I can execute on their ideas. Next, so it's an operational role. Got it. As manager, you will be responsible for overseeing and leveraging the assets of the entire KCRW music department. This includes oversight of the legendary music library, online music station, music videos, digital content, music events. Okay, what are they really saying here? They're saying we have a ton of cool shit and we're pissed that we're not making more money from it. You need to change that. That's what leveraging means. We've got assets. We've got things we know they're amazing, but how do we use them more? And who's overseeing them? Who's making sure that they're working all together? Okay, so we need to coordinate. It's a lot of communication, a lot of tracking. Got it. Assisting and managing our family of DJs. What does that mean? It means our DJs think of themselves as talent and they're a pain to manage. You got to make them happy, and you can't use money. Okay? We're really reading between the lines here. You get that? The other critical part of your job will be coordinating between the music department and the sponsorship team, events team, and programming teams. What does that mean? That means our people are so focused on their own goddamn stuff, they don't even talk to each other. You got to know what they're all doing, get them to work together, and if a screw up happens, it's your fault. Okay? All it means is we've got a ton of people doing different things. They're focused on their stuff. You got to be the one to coordinate them and make sure that one isn't violating something somebody else is doing. Got it. Got it. You'll also work with outside commercial and non-commercial partners to build audience and fans for KCRW. What does that mean? Oh, while you're here, we could use some marketing help. Please talk to these people who really like us because we can't figure out how to turn that into money, or, I mean, more listeners. Got it? Okay, so, yeah. So they want the sun and the moon through this, right? They want marketing, they want coordination, they want the execution, oversight, all this. No problem. Everybody asks for the sky and the moon with the job description. I get that. Now, here's where they say you'll report to the program director with direct supervision from the music director. This is unbelievably awesome for them to tell us, because now we know who we're working for and who we need to get to if we're going to find an in there. So this is awesome if you see something like this. So now we got to ask, how do I get in there? How do I get in? How do I get people? How do I find somebody who knows somebody? Because that's what's key, right? Not because that's going to get you the job. It is not going to get you the job. It's going to get you the opportunity, which 500 other people who sent their resume in didn't get. But first, what we need is my collateral. I need those things to go in there with guns a-blazing to show them that I'm the person for this job. So resume may seem obvious, but what happens when you get a stack of 500 resumes? They all look and feel the same. I heard a story about a guy who was great at going through resumes. A friend of mine told me about him. He said, "I just give me the stack of 500. I will come out with the top 20. And he'd go into his office for an hour and he'd come out with the top 20 resumes. And people would be like, oh my God, he's incredible. How does he do this? And he revealed later, he said, actually what I do is I throw away 400 resumes in the trash. And then I go through 100 and then I find the top 20. These are the things that can happen. So what can distinguish a resume? Check out this one. You think this guy might get a call back? Maybe somebody looks into him and says, maybe you're a good developer for us. This is a differentiated resume. And by the way, at the I'm going to show you this. This might even become a commodity soon, because what this guy used was this tool called ResumeUp. You can make this one too for yourself. I hope you Google things like online resume tools. This is a great one. There are such cool apps and tools out there to differentiate yourself. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Do cool shit like this. I don't even know what any of this stuff means. I just know it looks cool and this guy looks like he's organized and he's got his shit together. I want to talk to him. You know what I mean? Like, do that. It's about how it feels. Now, this is another section of that job description that said attributes. Self-motivated, gets along with others, believes in our mission. You've led a team of people. You have tenacity and scrappiness. This is gold when they tell you what they're looking for, because then you can shape the wording in your resume for this, and you can address some of these things in your cover letter. Remember, this is one of the biggest points. This is not about you. It's about them and giving them what they want. And to give them what they want, you need to adjust what you've done to say, this is not lying. This is not manipulation. Just think about a time. Even if it was in college, when did you lead a team of people? When were you tenacious and had scrappiness? When did you have a plan and executed on it? These are some of the things you're going to have to talk about. But don't be too long in that cover letter. Get to some of these points. Show it. Show your passion. Show you know who they are. Show you've looked up the company. Show you've researched who they are. And what's really important is that you pay exceptional amounts of attention to detail. Because what people are looking for at this kind of resume stage is they're looking for where did somebody screw up, or in their cover letter. What I do when I hire people is I say, use this exact line in your email subject. And anybody who didn't use that exact line, they're immediately eliminated because I know they're not paying attention to detail. People are looking for reasons to say no to you. Don't make it easy on them. Don't screw up typos, spelling, little things. Go over it. So this is the map for what I need my resume to stick to. Next is that cover letter. As I mentioned, with the cover letter, a few paragraphs, addresses the job requirements, shows you know who they are, shows you really know what this is, who they are, maybe even as a person. Because I saw it's for the program director. I can even address it with their name because I can look up who's the program director at this company. These are things to differentiate yourself. And then the online presence. Google yourself. What comes up? If you don't have anything good, use about.me. Start blogging with medium.com or another blog platform to put yourself out there so they can know who is this person? What are they about? So make sure you look at that online presence. Develop something there. Maybe have an online resume. Okay, so now we're done with our collateral, and we got to find the in. We really want to find that in. Now, your greatest tool for this is LinkedIn. If you don't have your LinkedIn all jazzed up, go work on that first, because that's what people are going to turn to, and that's where you can start searching for other people. So when I looked to mine, I went into the search bar and I searched results for KCRW 201. And look, I've got all these people at a second degree, meaning somebody who I know knows them, the music supervisor, the executive producer, the director of digital media, and oh my God, the program director. That's the person who I would be working for. So I need to get in touch with them. So I would see who's my second degree contacts that can introduce me. This can sometimes even work at third level, where somebody introduces you to somebody else who introduces you to them. But it can't happen if you don't have your LinkedIn profile up, ready to go, and connecting with people. Now, just because Gary Scott's the program director, he might never be on LinkedIn. He might never be responding to these. So I'm not just going to stop at Gary Scott here. I'm going to see who else I can get to. Maybe I'll try a bunch of these. You know, I saw when I click on, let's say, the executive producer, Liz McDonald here. Okay, maybe I can connect with her, but also check this out. On the right, see that there? The president. What if I've got a connection into the president of the company who might be able to get me in there and recommend me? So I click on hers, and then when I go down to the right, if I scroll down, I see how I'm connected. Through these friends, 6 total it shows, 3 plus the 3 below. And now I can pick, who do I know best among these to say, hey, Jennifer, I really want to get in touch with KCRW. Can you help me out here? LinkedIn's the most amazing tool for this. Okay, so now let's say you've got your in. I mean, there's a lot to do here that we've covered. You might be overwhelmed with the amount to do, but this is what it takes to get you in there and to get this job. But now we got to wow, because all that we've done so far has simply gotten us in the door. That's just paying to play. We're at the field. Throw in any other overused cliche you want here. But nothing's been won. You're just getting started now, and you have that opportunity. But hey, rejoice. That's amazing that you got in. I mean, I think you got to love the whole process. You got to enjoy it and say, wow, I got in. I got a contact there. That's amazing. That's fantastic. So now, tasks and responsibilities. This is another part of the job description. And it's showing me all the things that I'm going to need to do. This is actually a really, really well written job description for those of you looking out for that, because they're saying to kill it in this role, here's what you got to do. I love this because they're saying, here's how you can win. We don't want to make this confusing for you. Here's how to win. I love that. And if they don't say that, these are great questions. Ask during an interview, what does knocking it out of the park look like? What does a home run look like? What does it look like to kill it in this role? Those are amazing questions for an interview. So we're going to use this for our questions, because remember, it's not about your skills. It's not about proving yourself. If you ask great questions and show them how you think, it's amazing. But still, we've got to still do something to get that interview, right? So I like to do things maybe even before. I mean, if you have a great resume, but since they gave me so much information, I might do something like this. OmniGraffle is the program. It's a really easy to use program. And I'm showing, you know what? I get it. These are my roles. These are the things people I'm going to have to work with. These are the people I'm supporting. And I might send something in with my resume like this, just to distinguish myself, just to say, hey, I get what you're going for. Let me in there. Let's talk. I was starting to build something around the responsibilities. You can play with things like this to differentiate yourself. You don't have to. If you get that great resume, like great cover letter, and that can be enough. That can be enough. I might do something like this after the interview. So let's talk about the interview. I want you to think about it the way a great actor would think about an audition, which is, imagine this isn't to get a part. This is the part. Some of the greatest hires that I've done with other people is they said, thank you so much for interviewing me. Thank you so much for taking the time. I've really enjoyed it. And they did. It wasn't like they were lying. They were just saying they really did. I had a fun time talking to them. If you've got the interview, in some perspective, you've made it. So enjoy it since you got there and have fun with it. Because they're looking, is this somebody that I want to be around every day for days and weeks and months and years on end? So if you're not enjoying yourself, relaxing, having fun with it, then take a deep breath. Just take a few breaths and enjoy it, because you might not see him again. I didn't get that job at Google, but it was one of the most fun things I did was going there to visit their main headquarters and meeting with them and experiencing the campus. It was a blast. I was pissed that they didn't hire me just because of my GPA. That was the only reason. They said, you're perfect for Google except for your GPA. But I got them later because they hired me to consult at both their Europe headquarters and their US headquarters on customer service. So I got in there eventually and worked for them. But the interview can be so much fun. And what you're really going for in this interview is you're asking enough questions to do the major wow follow-up. The major wow follow-up is getting to the 90-day plan. This is the most awesome follow-up you can do. If you can ask enough questions, and maybe even in a graphic way, like with a cool spreadsheet or with like some graphics or something, or you get it to a friend who knows graphics, you show, hey, judging by what you said, this is what I would do in my first 90 days. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't have to be the quote-unquote right plan. When I've done this, it's almost always changed. But they're not looking for the right plan. They're looking for how you think and how you listen. That's what you're showing with your plan. And you're not even going through specifics necessarily. You might say, first, I'm going to learn from these people. Then I'm going to learn this. Then I'm going to try this. Then I'm going to try that. Then here's how I'm going to test it. Here's the metrics I'm going to use. Here's how I'm going to check in with you. Here's how I'm going to see if this is the right strategy. Notice I just said all those things and I have no idea what the right plan is. But I can make up answers to all those questions. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for, oh, he's going for feedback. He's asking our opinion. He's determining metrics that we're going to use. He's checking in with people. He's taking the right steps to make sure that he's on the right path. That's what they're looking for. And, when I did this report for Zappos, that was my proposal, this was a 7 or 8 or 9 page plan based on the questions that showed metrics that I was going to track, that showed the plans, that showed the whole strategy. I did a graphic map of the strategy and what I was going to track. Everything in there changed by like week 3. Everything. This is something to keep in mind too. I was thinking about this yesterday in a conversation with my friend Lauren, and I realized that every job I've ever had was different once I got there. Every job was different. Some for the worse, some for the better, but it was never what I expected. And because of that, it's really important that you relax through this. And know that, at the end of this, you might find it's not what you even want. But the only way to do this is to be flexible and to ask great questions and to learn and to understand. I've had dream jobs that turned into nightmares. I've had flukes that turned into amazing opportunities. I've gone into things with plans and just had to adjust on the fly. I've gone into interviews and been thrown such curveball questions that I couldn't have planned for, but taking a moment to breathe and just relax into it and take a moment to myself, an answer came to me out of nowhere. So keep this in mind. And I know a lot of you are probably, in a place where you don't really like it, where you're not really enjoying it, or maybe you really desperately need a job right now. I get that. But the way out is not hurried, crazy activity. It's really targeted. I hope you've gotten that through this process, and that the way out of desperation is to really enjoy it. Enjoy this process. Do whatever you can to do that. Take time to exercise, to take care of yourself, to do things that keep you in a happy place such that you can enjoy this. Any job I've ever gotten, I was loving the whole process. And the jobs where I was going for this job at Deloitte, and they literally talked me out of it. They said, "You're not going to like it here." And thank God they did. Thank God they were that honest with me. I was so convinced I wanted it, but I was really honest and open with who I am. And they said, "You're the entrepreneurial type. We're a huge, 50,000 person company. You're going to get lost in this. And you're not going to like it." So that's important, to just stay flexible and enjoy it and love it. And who knows, it could lead to some type of other opportunity. So I put some of these things together, as well as others, into this book, Create Your New Career. And you can email me for it, robert@richmond.la. I can send it to you. It includes the audio version. A lot of the stuff I covered in here are some of the newer things, but this is an actual job for creating it when there's no job description. That's a whole nother opportunity there. So feel free to email me about that. If that's something that you would like. Hi, I'm back. I'm just turning over to the chat area here. I don't see any. If you're able to type in a chat, please go for it if there's a question that you'd like to ask. Otherwise, you can email those questions into robert@richmond.la, and I'll be happy to answer it, or might put this together into a program. Please send me any kind of feedback that you have. I would like to always keep improving. Tell me if there's anything you think I don't want to hear, anything that I screwed up, anything that seemed lacking. I would love for you to tell me that as well. So I'm just going to check if there's any other questions that have come in. Okay, it doesn't look like it. But thank you. I hope this has been really helpful to you. I do this because I see so many great candidates who are not getting jobs. I do this because I really love sharing information and love this format of being able to talk to a lot of people from being at my house here. Definitely looking to improve it. Would love your suggestions. Thanks so much for being here. I wish you all the luck in the world with this. I'll be happy to send out these slides as well. So, and if you can add comments on the Facebook area as well, that would be great. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great time. Bye.